Well, our next presenter calls himself the American Dream. I can assure you he was always a nightmare for his opponents. He stood up for the common man. Please welcome WWE Hall of Famer, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
What a powerful night. When you talk about power, you talk about the Road Warriors. What a powerful night it is to see this great class come before you. Knowing that the table that each and every one out there sitting up close to me is eating off of. They set the table for you guys right here, and you girls. Paul Ellering was a young man in Georgia, come down from Minnesota, was all cold and everything, and he come down here in Georgia, and they messed around for a couple of years, and then all of a sudden, two powerful men came with him. The Road Warriors come in and electrified a country. They electrified a state. They electrified the world with their power. And Paul Ellering knew that, and he always had that little newspaper in his hand, always wiggling on it and everything, you know. He was the real deal. He set their transportation. He traveled them. He knew where they're supposed to be. He handled their business in public, if you will. As he put them together and they started on their trip to stardom, I remember that as he moved on later, he did something that a lot of us here in Georgia don't know nothing about unless you were here this winter. He was going to be in the Iditarod. Whatever the hell that was, I didn't know. But I know one thing. They take 16 dogs, they tie him to a sled. He gets his big booty in the back, 20 below zero, hollers mush, and they go 3,000 miles across Alaska, and he thinks that's fun. He told me earlier today that his dogs got away and he chased them 10 miles to put them back together. That's who Paul Ellering was. He led the Road Warriors. Road Warrior Hawk. I always called him Hank, and Hank had, he had a way about him. It reminds me of a lyric from a song. And it's not true in all cases, but only the good die young. He was on a fast track from the time you seen him. When he got up in the morning, he was a-moving. He wasn't slowing down for nobody. He lived life in the fast lane. He ran hard. And his presence is felt here tonight. I remember that I happened to know the booker during that time. And I remember there was a scaffold match right down his alley. All he had to do, he said, Dream, what do you think? I said, all you got to do is get up on the scaffold and the Midnight Express gonna be standing over here on the other side with Jim Cornette, and just go out in the middle of it, 15 foot high, 20 foot high, 100 foot high, and throw them off. Well, he threw them off. And Jim Cornette came to me and he said, well, what happens if he throws me off? I said, well, get somebody to catch you. So at that time, the big boss man was there, and the boss man said, well, I'll catch you if you get thrown off. I remember, like in slow motion, as Hank took Jim Cornette and them spindly old legs he had and throwed him off. And I remember distinctly the boss man's look. He missed him. Hank was a good friend of mine, and we miss him dearly. Now, Animal, on the other hand, was Andre. When he would get mad at me, he would puff up like a toad frog. I didn't know he was going to hit me or what he was going to do, but he had that angry look on his face. But he was a leader. He was powerful. He knew what to do. A great loving father, great children. I remember that he always cared about going to the old ball games and watching them play, even if they did play for the Rams. You know what I'm talking about? And Ohio State, we won't even talk about Texas beating them a couple years ago. That's what I'm talking about. Y'all be booing and stuff. It's getting late. I understand that. They were powerful men in a powerful industry. They were, in my notion, the greatest tag team in the history of this business. Real quick now, I just thought of this. We were back then you would get tired after matches and go have some libation. And I was having my libation on one end of the libation hall when a fan about 120 pounds come running up to me and sucker punched me right in the mouth. And he took off running. And he went around the libation hall and he's headed that way, and I looked way in the back, and there's Animal, and he's seen it all. Without taking the libation out of this hand, he stuck out this arm. And that's where the classic statement come, he hung him up, baby. His feet went out from under him and he flew out the front door. The Animal always had my back. But in an emotional time, I always remember that at the end of their interview, man, I can feel it. I know he's here. He would finish up and he would say, "You tell him, Hawk." It was a great honor to induct into this class of 2011 the mighty Road Warriors.
Thank you, Dusty Rhodes. The Tower of Power. The son of a plumber. The American Dream. And when we first started, this was but a dream. Tell him, Animal.
Well, Dusty Rhodes. Let's give it up for Dusty Rhodes and that nice introduction. Let me tell you a little bit about Dusty Rhodes since he was out here telling stories about us. I remember I was in our career, which started right here in Atlanta, Georgia, with Gordon Soley and Georgia Championship Wrestling. And I remember we were wrestling probably only about 3 weeks, and some of the guys here to appreciate this that are in the wrestling entertainment industry. And they had us do a rundown on Dusty Rhodes. Now picture this, we were a little excited at the time, as you can imagine. All painted up and all buffed up, ready to run to the ring. They say, go down and run and hit the ring on Dusty. And at the first time, Ole says, and get yourself over. So Hawk and I looked at Paul and we said, what does over mean? They only taught us a few key things in wrestling camp. We didn't get taught everything for good reason. So Dusty's getting beat up and we go down and we hit the ring. We grab Dusty, we're getting ready to hit him. He goes, open me up. I had to look to Paul. I said, what does open me up mean, Never thrown a punch except at a bar where we came from, and that was really hitting somebody, So we proceeded to do that. Well, the whole rib starts. And meanwhile, back there, they already had a pre-conversation with Stan Hansen. Everybody remember Stan Hansen, right? Well, they tell us if anybody else comes down to the ring, you don't let them in. You hit them with everything you got and you knock them off the ring. We're going, oh, okay. That's no problem. They tell Stan Hansen, no matter what, you get in the ring and you beat up those two muscle-bound son of a gun. Wasn't too funny when Stan Hansen came down to the ring. As you know, Stan Hansen's got really bad eyesight. Stan Hansen comes running down. He goes to climb in the ring. I spot him first and I hit him, and I sent Stan Hansen about into the third row. We didn't have ring rails at that time. I sent him in the third row. The worst thing you could do is now Stan Hansen is one pissed off cowboy. Stan Hansen comes in the ring with the good old folding chair, and we were told back then by Brody and the other guys and Ole Anderson, don't just get hit once, get hit 4 or 5 times. You look strong, right? I took one chair shot from Stan Hansen, and I ran out of the ring and started to cry. I look up in the ring, and there's Stan Hansen hitting Hawk with a lariat in the forehead. My partner's knocked out cold. I got to pull him out of the ring. Those were the kind of little ribs they pulled on us in the very beginning. But Dusty Rhodes, I really, from the bottom of my heart, you saw something in us, Dusty, that we didn't even know existed at the time. You saw the raw talent. We had no idea what we were doing. We were just trying to pay bills, child support, and make a little bit of dough on the side. And Dusty saw something else. And give it up for Dusty. I actually used to drive Dusty kind of nuts. I always liked to know what happened behind the scenes. I was always sneaking into the control room while they were editing tape, and I'd sit there and I'd sneak in, and all of a sudden I'd hear, Animal, what the heck do you want? Nothing. What do you want, Animal? Dusty was incredibly patient. He sparked our career and took it to new heights we never, ever would have dreamed of. And from the bottom of my heart, Dusty, I will ever be indebted to what you did for the Road Warriors. Thank you very much.
I was beginning to think we weren't going to make it here.
Yep.
I thought we were exiled into the penumbra of history in the land of misfit toys. But here we are at the Hall of Fame. Tell him, Animal.
You said it great, Paul. I don't know what you said, but you did a good job there. The WWE Hall of Fame. Now, give it up, man. It's a night for excitement and to be happy. Hawk and I were real fortunate. You know, we were very blessed, man. I got to thank the man above for giving me the opportunity to be in this great entertainment industry, sports entertainment. We were lucky, like the film said, you know, we got to win, you know, Georgia Championship, NWA, AWA, All Japan Pro Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Finally win, you know, the culmination of everything, the WWE Championship titles, right? And now, the biggest award in sports entertainment history today, I will give them all up for this night right here with the WWE Universe. I'll tell you that right now.
When we first started, it was the perfect storm. Animal and Hawk were like kids without adult supervision. And I was the adult. The first time we went on a road trip, I asked Animal, you ever do any high school sports or college? You play football, do anything? Animal says, well, I played football. And I said to Hawk, Hawk, what did you do? I didn't play football. Well, what did you do? Well, I'd go to the game. And then what would you do? Well, at the end, it was Hopkins 13, Robbinsdale 12, and Hawk 15 knockouts. That was Hawk. Yep.
I know it's been a long night. If you don't mind, I'll tell you a couple quick little stories about my first entrance in the wrestling business. And they're actually pretty humorous, you know. One of them has to do with my great friend. He's in the audience tonight, Roddy Piper. Give it up. You know, when Ole Anderson came into the infamous Grandma B's, where we all bounced at the time, and you got to imagine this, you had Ravishing Rick Rude, you had Smash from Demolition, you had Hawk, myself, and at the time he had a broken leg, a good friend of mine, the Russian Nightmare, Nikita Koloff. And most of those guys went to the same high school, believe it or not, and they're the same age. So Ole Anderson comes down. Now he's the boss. He's the booker of Georgia Championship Wrestling. And he says, I'm going to bring you in, Joe. You're going to be my road warrior. I'm thinking, wow, man, great. The big time. I get to go be a wrestler. And, you know, you got to picture this. I get down there, and I don't know what's going on. All we knew is how to bounce. Ed Sharkey, who trained us, did not teach us a thing. So I go down there. Lucky me, I get down there right in the middle of this big buyout. There was a gentleman, Jim Barnett. He was buying out the company. There was a big what to do going on, so they send me to North Carolina. I said, okay, great, maybe I could be a great star, and, you know, give it up. NWA, give it up, go ahead. So I get there, talk about a young guy full of piss and vinegar that got extremely humbled right away, I'll tell you. Now I'm talking to Roddy Piper, and I'm lucky to be in a battle royal with him, and I'm third to last going out. I think I'm something, right? So I'm talking to Roddy that night, and we are having a beverage or two, if you know what I'm talking about with Roddy. And I said, geez, Mr. Piper, you're phenomenal. I said, and I'm marking out. That's Roddy Piper, man. Give it up. You know, I'm Roddy Piper, right? I say, Roddy, I hope someday to be able to control the crowd like you do, to get them yay, boo, to do that, and hopefully to be in your spot. Roddy sips his wild turkey and he goes, kid, I just don't know if you got what it takes. I don't see that happening. I love Roddy. We laugh, we drink about that today, man. It's just one of those experiences, learning curves you're going through. One other little thing. Here I am, right, 550-pound bench press guy. I'm in the Carolinas. I learned real quick what this move right here meant. And if anybody in the South knows, Johnny Weaver was a world champion in the Carolinas. Here I am, and they tell me, Joe, of course they call me Joe Lauren from Ireland, and where they got that from, I'm not Irish, I'm Lithuanian, by the way. So I get there, and they say, Joe, you gotta put Johnny Weaver to sleep. So Johnny's telling me slam him, I'm feeling pretty good, I got the offense going, until I see the two fingers raised up and do this. Now I know it's night time. Johnny Weaver puts me to sleep, and I do the 1, 2, 3, I go back. I get back, and I'm pissed. Now, I'm marking out, right? I'm a powerlifter, and I'm saying, no way this guy's gonna put me to sleep. And who's there to welcome me but my good buddies Sergeant Slaughter and Don Kernoodle. At that time, we weren't making a lot of money. I was living off of a half a gallon of milk and a bag of pretzel sticks for a week, man. We didn't have a lot of money. We were working like 12 times a week, right? Old school. If it wasn't for Sarge buying me a hamburger every now and then, I would have starved. Sarge goes, don't worry about it, kid. We all been put to sleep. And he's just cracking up, man. It's just one of those things that happen. A learning curve, learning experience, man. I'd go through it all over again.
Yeah, that's good. Right now we stand before you under the brightest spotlight in sports entertainment. Today, we are here for the last laugh of wicked mirth. This incredible collection of talent assembled here are the compelling symbols of our industry. And that is why we are here to give thanks.
All right, now the tough one. Okay. My family. I'd like to thank my father, who's in the audience tonight. He made the trip up from Tampa. You should have seen his face. You know, my dad's the kind of guy, I mean, perfectionism runs in our family. What can I say? He used to tape up job in the one ads, put them up on the refrigerator, and I wake up and say, don't come home without a job. That's my dad. So you can imagine the look on his face when I said, Dad, I'm going to be a professional wrestling entertainer. It wasn't too good. Wasn't too happy with me. But Dad, thanks for making the trip. My brothers John and Mark, probably two when they were in college when I started in the wrestling entertainment industry, and probably two of my biggest fans at the time. You know, I love them dearly, man. Don't get to spend enough time with them as I could, you know. But thank you anyway, guys, for being here tonight. It's special. Now for my family. I know it sounds cliche, but to my wife, Julie, please stand up. Ain't she beautiful, man? She is a true saint. Julie, from the bottom of my heart, baby. my best friend, my confidant through the good times, bad, the highs and lows. You have been there and supported me, given me the opportunity to go do something that I love so dearly with the great friends, because this is a brotherhood, and from the guys in the past to now and the new, they are all part of a brotherhood, and I thank you so very, very much. My son Joe. My son Joe's here in the crowd. Joe. My son Joe. Joe, you're my hero, buddy. Thank you for risking your life over in Iraq and defending this great country so we can have the freedom today. My son James. James and I have always had a special connection throughout life, man. James has been my buddy. Whether it was going to the wrestling ring or down to the St. Paul Civic Center or going to the greatest event in sports entertainment, WrestleMania, when I told him I was getting inducted into the HOF, the Hall of Fame, the culmination of my career, he was like a 12-year-old little kid again. You would have never known he was an NFL linebacker, man, because he turned into Didi. All right, yeah! Proud of you, James. Good job. My baby girl, my daughter, Jessica. Poor thing is 150% like me and Jessica. I'm so sorry, honey. She's got a temper, but God knows, man, one of the best girls ice hockey players in the state of Minnesota ever. She's an unbelievable, beautiful young lady. To all my family, thank you very much, and I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. You're my world, you're my life.
I want to thank all my brothers in the business for all the special memories of all the yesterdays. And I want to thank my family for the much I have to be thankful for today. And to the WWE Universe, this is not about us, this is about you.
Couldn't have said any better, Paul. Whether, all right, go ahead. Being in this great sports entertainment industry, you get to travel over the world, man. You're really lucky. From going to Japan to South Korea to Kuwait, to Abu Dhabi, and then going to all over the world, basically. I can't name every country, but it is, Paul is right. It's you, the WWE universe that drives this machine. You guys are the fuel that get us to wake up every day and go out and want to perform to the best of our ability for you. And I thank you. The Road Warriors thank you. The LOD thanks you.
To my brothers of the planes, trains, and automobiles, it is good that men like us meet in the struggle of life. Now I'm going to talk about my LOD family. I'm proud and honored to be afforded with great pleasure the opportunity to be part of something special with two unbelievable human beings and good friends. I've got one beside me here, and the other one is Hawk. Hawk was a husband, a son, a brother, a warrior, a friend. Even today, we are dancing to the music Hawk is playing. Yep. I'm proud to say that Hawk was our friend, but really that's being selfish. Because Hawk was a friend to all who knew him. It was October 19th, 2003. The day the dark clouds covered the bright sun. It was the day the laughter stopped. This is what Hawk would have wanted. A celebration of life, and what a life we live. Yeah. To Dale, Hawk's wife, there's really only one person Hawk wanted to make proud, and that was you. Yeah.
I got to talk about this quick before I finish with Hawk. One of the most important things, the boys. If I didn't thank the boys on behalf of Hawk and myself and Paul, it would be an insult. I want to thank the boys who have paved the road for us to be here in this venue today.
Yeah.
I want to pave the road for the guys who put us over and got us to be to the level we needed to be for this wrestling entertainment industry. We didn't do it by ourselves. Hawk and I were firm believers. We were only as good as the guys we were in the ring performing with, and we believe that from the bottom of our hearts. You see, my brother Hawk, man, I'm telling you, there's not a day that goes by that I do not think about that man. Hawk was a man's man. And if you needed 50 bucks and he didn't have that 50 bucks, he'd say, Paul or Animal, give me that 50 bucks. I got to loan this guy the money. I'll pay you back later. That was Hawk. Hawk was a little rough around the edges, you know, but Hawk loved everybody and respected everybody he ever came in contact with. I knew Hawk better than anybody. If I could explain the connection that Hawk and I had, I would, but I can't explain it. I could look at Hawk's eyes and I could know if everything was going great in a match or if he was lost in a match or what we needed to do, and it was vice versa. Hawk and I had a connection that was unparalleled in this industry. And Hawk, we fed off each other, man. It was one mind, one team, one body. And I will forever miss him and be indebted. There you go, right there.
Hawk, we both love and miss you. In the Legion of Doom, the greatest team of our time, the greatest team of all time, Animal was the exclamation point. I was the jockey that rode the horse. And Hawk was the whistle of the train. I'm not an angel. I'm not an angel, but I know an angel. And what does that angel say?
Oh, what a rush! That's for you, brother. Thank you, Hall of Fame.